Hello, this is Prathamesh Patil and welcome back to my YouTube channel. And today we'll be looking at Forage Tata data visualization task that I have done, and you can go through this too, and it's step by step so you can understand it thoroughly. Let's get started. Today we are going to see the data analysis that I have performed on the data online retail dataset, and this is my task for communicating insights and analysis. Initially, what we have to do is download Power BI and the data set required for the visualization. So it is available in the task 3, which we can see after scrolling down a little bit in here. Here we can download Power BI and W and online retail dataset for visualization. So moving on to task 3, what we can see here is after downloading the data, we have to clean up the data. So according to the given task, here what we have to do, create a check that the quantity should not be below 1 unit and create a check that the unit price should not be below $0. We have imported the data in Power BI. As we can see in here, after opening Power BI, you can see one file. It's just simple thing to import the data in Power BI. No rocket science in it. It's simply clicking the import data from Excel and selecting a file or dataset that we want to open. So the first page will be opened is the report page. After that, we have to hover to the data on the left side in here. After that, we can see here what data is available with us. There are nearly about 8 columns in it. The things we have to perform is on the quantity column and the unit price column. For performing data cleanup, for the first task, that is the quantity check, we can click on the quantity column and see a drop down. After clicking on it, we can see the number filters, and from there we can just select greater than or equal to or else greater than. Here, if we select greater than or equal to, we can select the task that we have been given is it should not be below 1 unit. So it can be 1 or greater, right? So greater than or equal to 1. After clicking OK, the rows will be filtered and you can see a filter column in here. There's a little bit change in here. And we can see here how many rows are filtered. In 5,41,909 rows, the 5,31,285 rows are filtered. This we have applied on the quantity column, and now similar for the unit price, when we can give conditional checks for the price greater than 1. Okay, so we've been told should not be below $0 now. So just click this, then hover to number filters, and then from here we can say greater than or equal to, as the price cannot be in negative, so it's just selecting greater than equal to 0. After clicking OK, yes, so we have filtered all the data, that is we have cleaned up the data. The next thing is that uh, now moving on to the questions, what we can see in the task 4 here. As 4, what we have to do is we have to explain the previous task that we have done in our presentations. What we can see is we have visualized these 4 questions. Let's just see them one by one. The CEO of retail store is interested to view the time series of revenue data for the year 2011 only. We would like to view granular data by looking into revenue for each month. The CEO is interested in viewing the seasonal trends and want to dig deeper into why these trends occur. This analysis will be helpful for the CEO to forecast for the next year. So here one new word is the revenue data. Now if we previously observed the data that we had, there's no revenue column in it. Actually I have added this afterwards. There's no revenue column. So how can we add one revenue? So let's just click on any column we want and here select new column. Right click on it like this. Right click on it and select a new column. So a new column will be generated, and this is the formula tab we can say. So let's just rename it as
revenue revenue underscore one, as I already have a revenue column in here. So what we'll do is we'll assign a formula for it, as we cannot just fill one each row one by one. There are 5,41,000 rows. We cannot do it like that. So if we from the formula, what we can do is we can select quantity into unit price. This is the formula for revenue, right? How much the quantity is sold and what was the unit price for it, and that is the revenue generated. So here, what we'll do is we'll just online retail. Online retail is our data sets name, and unit price is our columns name. So we are taking that, accessing that, and multiplying it. Multiplication is done by the asterisk mark, and another one is online retails. What we want quantity. So unit price into quantity gives us the revenue, right? So when we click on this checkbox, when we click on that check, see you can see that the revenue column is generated with all the values calculated till the end. So I'll just delete this column, as you can create it one for yourself, your data. I'll just delete it from here, yes, because I have already generated one. Now moving on to the reports, that is visualizing the data. Yes, so I have already visualized it. I'll just explain you how to. Here in the fields option, we can see what data is available with us. So if I click this particular visualization, you can see here I have selected invoice date and revenue. Now, if you select invoice date, the x-axis, in the x-axis, invoice date has initially four parameters: year, month, day, and quarter, either quarterly. So we want, what do we want is we want for the year a time series of revenue data for year 2011. As we know, for time series it's better to get with line plot, and the similar we have done in here. So we have selected the two, and from there what we have selected is this line chart. And for the x-axis we have chosen the invoice date, and for year and month, as we don't need each days, we can just simply take it year and month. Even here it would have been specified, yes, he would like to view granular data by looking into revenue for each month. So we have to give the data analysis on monthly basis, right? So considering here, cancelling both the day and the quarterly parameters, and on the y-axis we can just check some of the tick the revenue and some of the revenue, so we can have the revenue in here on the y-axis. After that we have to filter the data, right? We cannot just simply get the years, because this data contains of many years. See, if we check the year, it can be, see here, it is of 2011, while after some time we can say, okay, so this all data, so now we have to filter the data, right? Invoice data, invoice date dash year. Now here what we have filtered is we have done the advanced filtering. There are three types of filtering: basic filtering, top and advanced filtering. Basic filtering, we can just select these things such as 2010 and 2011. There are 2 years available in our data. So top end means we have to show the top. We have the ability to show the top items or the bottom items, anything we want. So we are just going to select advanced filtering, and which values to show, that is which year to show. We will show is, we'll take the show items where the value is 2011. After selecting that, and for the month we are selecting all, there's no specification done for month. And for revenue we are adding no filters for both of them. And after that we have this nice data over here from which we can interpret easily. But before that, what we can do is to add more detailed detail in this line chart. What we can do is go here, format your visuals, and from there what we can do is on the data labels, as you can see, if I off them, see, I need to hover for each and every point to look at what the a revenue is generated for that particular month. But when we on the data labels, we can easily look rather. There's no need to hover on that particular point to check what the revenue is generated for that month. So what trend we can see in here is there is a slight ups and downs in the starting of the year, but there's a quite massive gain in the November month and even massive fall for the December month. So yes, we can interpret these results according to the CEO and CMO. Moving on to the question 2. What do you have for question 2? CMO is interested in knowing the top 10 countries which are generating the highest revenue. Yes. So after the reading this question, what we need to do is we have to display the top 10 countries that are generating the highest revenue. Move on to the question 2. What we have done here is we have selected the line chart. What we have Here in question 2, what we have done is we have selected the clustered column chart that you can see in here. Okay. So the thing is, here what we have to do, we have to display top 10 countries. Okay. The second thing is how much quantity that is sold, because here they have specified. This is also interested in knowing the quantity sold. Okay. So check mark the country. We have check mark the quantity as well as the revenue as we want to interpret the results from it. So on x-axis we have kept the country as we want to display the top 10 countries, and here what they have told is we have to leave the United Kingdom. We should not consider the United Kingdom over there. So applying the first filter on the country, what we have to do is we have to do the top 10 countries. That is, we have selected the top n, and from there what we have show items top or bottom. From top we want 10 items, so you can just fill in the value here, and by the value count of country. Now here what we can do, there are many specific answers: first, last, count, distinct, count. So we have selected count of the country, means top 10 countries we are selecting. After that, for the country, we should not select United Kingdom, right? They have told here to not to select United Kingdom. So similarly, what we have done is we have turned on the basic filtering and selected all except the UK. You can see in here, yes, we have excluded the UK, as when we included the values too much higher, we cannot interpret the result as compared to that. Collapsing these two filters, what we have is we are not going to touch any of the sum quantity or sum of the revenue. So on the y-axis, what we have done is we have put on sum of revenue and sum of quantity, two parameters. So there are two columns in here that represent each of them. So if we hover on this, we can see the sum of revenue is 284 and of for the Netherlands, and sum of quantity sold is 2 lakh, around 2 lakh something. So even what we can do here is we can on the data labels in here, so that we don't need to actually hover them for each of the columns. Moving on to the third question, what do we have is the CMO of online retail store wants to give the information of the top 10 customers by the revenue. Similarly, what we are going to do is we are just going to give the top n filtering, and we are just going to select top 10 customers by revenue. He's interested in visuals that shows the greatest revenue generating and gradually declines to the lower revenue generating customers. The CMO wants to target the higher revenue generating customers and ensure that they remain satisfied with their products. So moving on to the third question, what we can see here is it is the similar thing that we have done before. Just we are not considering another that quantity, how much quantity is sold. Just we are checking the customer ID and the revenue. Before we have done about the country, right? Now here we are going to do about customer and revenue relation. So each of them we have just selected in customer ID. X-axis is customer ID, y-axis is sum of revenue, and now the filter comes. The filter what we have discussed is we are going to display the information of top 10 customers by revenue, right? So what have we done here is top n by the count of customer ID. Top 10 customers, we have done this filtering, and some of the revenue we have kept it as it is, and here we have our data visualized. Moving on to the question fourth, what it is the CEO is looking to gain insights on the demand for their products. He wants to look at all the countries and see which regions have the greatest demand for the products. Once the CEO gets an idea of the regions that have high demand, he will initiate an expansion strategy which will allow the company to target these areas and generate more business from these regions. He wants to view the entire data on a single view without the need to scroll or hover over the data points to identify the demand. That means here you getting it. What we have discussed before. This one data labels, right? If we on these data labels, we don't need to hover it, right? If we just shut them out, we need to hover and then see what is the sum of the revenue and all the things. But if we start on them, yes, we can directly say that this customer ID with 14298 has the revenue of 451K. Okay, moving further, what we have is there is no need to show data for UK as the CEO is more interested in viewing other countries that have expansion opportunities. Okay, so moving on to the fourth question, what we can see is yes, this looks quite fantastic, right? So what we have done here is we have just selected the country and the quantity sold at each of the region, and then we have what we have done is we have selected this map visualization, okay, because we want it on the map. And the country, as we have done it before, basic filtering, leaving the UK in here, unchecked in here. And yes, we have the data visualized over here. Yep. Yes, we have the data visualized over here. This we can see how much how much the Greece is producing. The Greece needs sum of quantity 1556. We can see their names over the data points just by formatting the document and category labels on. We can, if we off them, we won't get any idea that for this circle which country is it in, right? So if we just on the category labels, you can select that. We can see that for which countries we are specifically trying to see. So from here we can just see that Netherlands has more sale than compared to others. As even we can see our question number two. Yes, see Netherlands has most quantity sold as well as the revenue generated is quite awesome. So yes, this was my task completion of communicating insights analysis that I have done on the data online retail data set. And thank you for this opportunity.